taking your time. It's been like 20 minutes since I booted you up. Can you give me my chat sometime before the sun sets? Would be awesome. Hey, Suhana. Welcome. Yes, it is a good evening. Where you're having regular power cuts with a very unpredictable and unreliable schedule, like so they put on the schedule the load shedding. It's called load shedding. They're shedding the load of power. So they put on the schedule, yeah, we're at stage 2, that means 2 hours a day, and we're going off at 10 p.m. at night. The very first day it goes off at 10 p.m. The very next day the schedule changes, but they don't update this, they just change it. So it's been updated to 6 a.m. in the morning. And the day after that it's been updated again, but no one knows this. Now it's been updated to stage 4, so that's 4 hours a day, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. It's one thing to have this kind of problem in one's life, it's another thing to not be able to work around it because they're consistently updating their schedule. And you never know what the new schedule looks like. Just gotta wait and find out. It would be very disruptive if that kind of thing happened in the middle of a stream. Welcome back, Delmain and Lavina. It's nice to see you guys again. Thank you for your question. Your question adds you to the queue automatically. So Lavina is saying, how will my meeting be with Ankiti's family members and when will we marry? So you haven't even met his parents yet and you're already worried about marriage. Hey, I'm not here to judge. You do you, babe. Machine though, this machine is just not operating. Ah, you have an arranged marriage set up. Okay, that's a different story. I'm very much for arranged marriages. I think that's a great idea. I love the idea of arranged marriages. We always make terrible mistakes when we go out on our own. Our parents have a lot more experience than we do. They know us better than we know ourselves. I think they're in a much better position to make the right choice for us when it comes to marriage than we are. I mean, they can't always be expected to be right and on point, but I think they have a better chance than we do. So Hannah says, my name is Savita. Will Arjun take action in his family for our marriage? And then Suhana says, sir, how many people are here? Okay, so we've only got 2 requests in the queue so far, but there are 5 viewers. If that viewer counter is right. Two lighters today. I will be giving you guys your readings soon. Having a hard time with this machine. I don't know what its deal is. It usually only messes around like this when... What am I trying to say? It usually only messes around like this when the weather is hot, but the weather is not hot. So Hannah says nobody's chat is showing. Can you not see it on screen here? Is it not showing up on the screen? I will check. Let me check. I don't know what you're talking about, Sahana. The chat is working just fine. No, Sahana, you see, the way it works is that if you look here, you'll see there's little icons next to the chat, and there's YouTube, there's Facebook, there's Twitch. So the chat's coming in from different places. If you're on YouTube, you can't see what's coming through unless it's someone else on YouTube, but you can check over here what's going on with the chat. That's why it's on the screen. But yeah, this machine is just still not responding to me. It's still not responding to my input. I'm not going to stress about it too much for now. I'm going to go on with the readings. I'll stress about it in a bit after I've done a few readings. We've got 2 readings. First one is for how will the meeting with Ankit's family be, and when will we marry? The tarot is not likely to give you an exact time frame of when you're going to be married. The tarot is going to tell you about one of those questions, not going to be specific about both of them. Okay, so what can Lavina expect during this meeting with Ankit's family? And what should she know about their impending marriage? It looks like this machine is responding. It's like it was waiting for me to start. Bingo. Suhana, I just want to let you know you only have to ask a question once. Asking a question multiple times just creates confusion for you and for me and for everyone viewing the stream. So please only need to ask a question once. Thank you. Okay, turning the first card over for Lavina. So Lavina, your first card here, which is a past interval, is the Prince of Swords reversed. This card is talking to me about some things that you had to deal with when you heard about this arranged marriage. You felt like it interfered with your purpose, like it forced you to face certain things about your purpose or what you believed your purpose was. It was always something in the back of your mind, knowing that your parents are probably going to create an arranged marriage for you, but you had this idea of what you want to accomplish with your life anyway, and you were working on it. And so when these thoughts came up that nagged you, when your mother said something like, "Oh yeah, you can study all you like, but we're going to marry you off," and then that would bring thoughts and feelings up, and you would push them to a side, saying, "No, it's not in the present now. I don't need to face it yet." But then when they actually brought this arranged marriage and said, "This is what we're doing. This is the guy you need to meet. This is his family," then you had to face those challenges. You had to face those thoughts and those feelings and that resentment that came up with now realizing or feeling as if your purpose is being sabotaged, and what you've been working on for yourself is being broken down. But that's not really the case. The card here is showing up that dealing with those thoughts and those emotions is important, and you will make a breakthrough. You have made a breakthrough. This is past interval. The advice this card has, and the reason it's showing up, is to say to you that it's not sabotaging your purpose or what you want to create with your life. You can still work on that even after the marriage has happened. All it's done is, the worst that it's going to do is basically postpone what you're creating for yourself. It's just going to postpone that, and you're going to have to integrate with the marriage first before you go back to working on your own personal purpose. And then a little note on purpose is when you are stepping out to accomplish your heart's desire. So you notice in your heart, okay, this is what I want from life, so I'm going to take action to accomplish it, and that is purpose. The desire is there in your heart, and when you take action to reach it and you apply a means to accomplish it, you are setting purpose for yourself. Present interval is the 7 of the trumps. It's called the Chariot. It's also reversed. So this card talks about overwhelm. It's like feeling overwhelmed with everything that's busy happening. Like reality is shifting. You have all of these possibilities, these possible outcomes in front of you, and you don't know which one it's going to be, and you feel overwhelmed by how serious it is. Every little word that you say, every action you make, every decision you make, every reaction to emotions and thoughts and whatever it might be can completely alter your outcome. So this card just wants to give you some advice about that, saying to you, the outcome that you want, choose it. Like, don't stress about all of these possibilities. Choose one that's going to be your outcome, and then you make your decisions and you carry yourself according to that outcome. And if it will happen the way you visualize it. That's how manifestation works. You have to visualize your outcome. You have to see it the way you want it to be, and then live as if that was going to be your outcome. And then it is. It doesn't always look exactly the way you visualize it, but you'll find that everything you'd hoped for does manifest into your present, regardless of the course of action you take to get there. But it is important that you make your decisions and you carry yourself. That's your demeanor, your attitude, the words you use. All of that stuff must be in alignment with your outcome. That's you choosing a road. So you visualize your destination, which is your outcome, and then you act, you step according to that outcome. You act according to that outcome. Another piece of advice this card has for you is that you can help yourself cope with the overwhelm, this feeling of overwhelm and anxiety that comes with it. You can help yourself cope with that by identifying what's important to you. So once you've chosen what your outcome looks like and how you're going to carry yourself to get there, then look at, okay, what's most important about this outcome? What's most important to me? I'm going to take actions and carry myself in accordance with what's most important, a list of priorities. So if I feel a negative emotion, how important is it for me to react positively or negatively? How much damage is a negative reaction going to do to my outcome? And how important is it for me to act in a positive way as a result of these emotions, regardless of whether they're positive emotions or negative emotions? That can also look like when you're planning. So there might be plans that you have to make, choosing what you're going to wear before you go and meet the parents, or choosing whatever it might be. There will be decisions and planning involved, and again, make those plans in the order of what's most important to you and your outcome. It's a difficult one to explain when it comes to like meeting with a family. For me, I don't really do much planning. I look at, my culture is very different, so there isn't really a set way that a person dresses or anything like that, really. There's no set way that a person should behave. I get to choose that in my culture. I get to choose what I'm going to wear. I get to choose how I'm going to carry myself, whether I'm going to eat in my hands or with a knife and fork or with just a fork. I get to choose all of those things depending on what outcome I want to manifest. For you, there's a set boundary of rules that you have to act within. So it doesn't really give you much room to make your own decisions, but yeah, it's saying priority, what's most important to you. Make your decisions according to your outcome, what's most important to that outcome, what's going to bring that outcome closer to you. Act in that way. Future interval. So your future interval is number 21 of the trumps, and it's the right way around. So this is encouraging. This card is basically saying that whatever you choose, whatever outcome you visualize, is what's going to manifest. You are going to dance around your negative sides. Like, we all have hidden parts of ourselves that we don't like others to see, or parts of ourselves that get triggered and feel resentful and feel judgmental. There are parts of ourselves that try to get in the way of us when we're trying to reach for our purpose. But this card, the universe card, is all about making your environment look the same way as what you're visualizing in your mind. And in this card, we see the star goddess is dancing with the serpent. So that's, the star goddess represents you in this scenario, and the serpent represents your shadow. So what's happening here is she's dancing around the serpent, so it cannot restrict her. She can see it clearly. It's trying to wrap itself around her and devour her, but she's dancing with it, and every time it tries to curve around her, she just moves out of the way. So you will feel triggers, you will feel difficult emotions, but you will just dance around them, and you will act in the way that's necessary in order to manifest the outcome the way that you visualize. So you're asking me what is going to happen when you meet them? It's what you choose. Visualize it. What's going to happen? Ask yourself that. Decide what's going to happen, and that's how it will be. And that concludes your reading. It applies the same way to your marriage. So visualize it. Even if you have no control over the date, you can still set a roundabout date for yourself in your own mind, and you can act as if it's going to happen that way. And the universe will probably bring it into manifestation that way. Lavina says, that's promising and hopeful. Thank you so much. You are welcome. And yeah, please like and share, follow and subscribe. You're on YouTube, you're on Facebook, so I'm sure you've already followed me. In that case, just like and share, please. It would be very helpful. And then I want to welcome Jennifer Kennedy, and I want to welcome Kiati Parma and Sindel Mais. Welcome, guys. Thank you for joining me again today. To get into the queue, just ask your question. I see Jennifer Kennedy has a question. She says, I was in a wreck last night. The other driver lied and said he didn't run the light. Will the truth come out and he be held responsible? Thank you so much for doing this for all of us. Most welcome, Jennifer. Thank you for your question. It adds you to the queue. We do have Suhana, who just said liked. Suhana is up next for a reading. And then I believe it is you, but I will confirm that as I go up and down in the chat. God's abundant blessings, welcome back. It's nice to see you here. I hope everything is happening exactly the way we manifested it for you on Monday. And you're asking, may I get a reading for my future, please? What is stopping me from stepping ahead? Why am I stagnant? Amazing question. We will get there. Thank you for that question. It adds you to the queue. Welcome, Diana of Anira. It's good to see you. It's good to have you back. It's been a while since I saw your name in the chat. So Suhana's question is, my name is Savita. Will Arjun take action in his family for the sake of our marriage? Awesome. Just to let you know, Diana, if you want to get a reading, all you gotta do is ask your question. I also do general readings, so if you prefer general reading, just type something like general in the chat, and that'll add you to the queue. Thank you. And then if you haven't already, I'd encourage you to follow, but I'm sure you have. And thank you for that. Thank you for your support. Will Arjun take action regarding his marriage to Suhana? Thank you very much for the share, Sindel. Much appreciated. Okay, Suhana, your first card here, which is your past interval, things that are already coming to a close. This is the Hanged Man, number 12 of the trumps. He is reversed. This card talks about enduring suffering, basically. So this card is telling me that because of his lack of honesty, you have been experiencing a degree of suffering, waiting, anxiety, uncertainty, all kinds of difficult feelings have come with that. Like, does he even love me? Does he care? Is he authentic? If he's hiding this relationship from his parents or his intentions from his family, is it even true? A lot of difficult things to deal with. However, your endurance through it all has paid off, and you've made a breakthrough, so that even whether or not he chooses to be honest, you have found a sense of peace in yourself. You've made that breakthrough in yourself. Just applying what you've learned, applying what you know, and your resources and your experience, applying it within the situation in order to overcome that suffering, realizing that you alone are responsible for your freedom from suffering, that you can't really wait for him. You've got to choose to either suffer or be liberated, and that it doesn't really matter what he's doing. Yes, ideally we still want him to be honest, but that doesn't get to decide how you feel in your emotional being. You get to decide that. Present interval is the Two of Cups. So this is where you are in the present, and it talks about opportunities, opportunity for emotional abundance. It's like potential. A good metaphor for that kind of potential is like a seed. So in the present, you are planting a seed that will bring about emotional abundance for you. And you're planting that seed in the form of self-care and self-love. Just focusing on yourself and your own development. The card wants to encourage you and say that that is the right way to go, to focus on yourself, your own self-care routines, your self-love. That's what's most important, to be honest. And the card just wants to encourage you there and recognize you in that, and say to you that as long as you stay committed to that self-love process and exploring that self-love process, what it means to love yourself, and not depend on that kind of recognition or affirmation from an outside source, or from a partner, or from a partner's family. All of that can come from within. You can validate yourself in the relationship. You don't have to depend on him. You don't have to depend on anything besides your own spirit for that kind of fulfillment. And as long as you stay committed to that, you will find the emotional abundance you're looking for. Now, it may not seem like it. From day to day, you might still struggle with feelings. He might still say things or lie or make promises saying, yeah, next week I'll talk to my family, and then it doesn't happen next week. And those things will still trigger difficult feelings for you. But if you stay committed to the self-love, and you stay committed to validating yourself, and every time you feel those things, you say, no, I can validate myself, I can fulfill myself emotionally, I'm not dependent on what he is saying, I'm not dependent on what his family thinks of me. He might be ashamed of our relationship, but I don't have to be. And as long as you stay committed to that, it will make a shift in your reality and your perceptions, and you will find the emotional abundance you're looking for. You'll make a breakthrough, and you'll find a point in your life. You'll find a point pretty soon where you're no longer affected by things that he has to say. You're no longer affected by his honesty or dishonesty, or anybody's for that matter. You will be secure in your own identity. You'll be secure in your own fulfillment and your own validation. Future interval is the Five of Swords. So this card, again, it's not talking about whether or not he is gonna be honest with his family, if it's gonna happen soon, or if it's gonna happen in a long time. It's not saying anything to do with that. What this card is saying is that what's opening up for you is you applying your knowledge and your resources to their maximum potential in order to accomplish your own goals in life. Never mind what he's up to. You have ideas of what you want from life, what your life is going to look like in 10 years. And so this card is saying what's opening up for you is that you're going to be working with all of your effort towards your own goals and making your life look the way you want it to look. You look into the future, you see what it looks like, and you work on accomplishing that, and you apply your resources, which is finances and technology. You apply your knowledge, your education, your experiences, you apply all of that towards accomplishing your own goals. And that is the conclusion of your reading. Thank you for liking, and thank you for your consistent support as a subscriber. Much appreciated. Just a reminder that tips and donations are extremely appreciated. Extremely welcome and extremely appreciated. And then I want to say a welcome to Peggy, who has joined us. Peggy wants to have a relationship reading. And then welcome to Tasha Nolson, who is looking for a general reading. Thank you very much. And you're welcome, Suhana. I'm sure I'll be seeing you again soon. Before I look at the next reading, I want to just tag somebody, if I can. There we go. Welcome back, Jaya. Nice to see you, and thank you for your question. It adds you to the queue automatically. Alright. Next in the queue is Jennifer Kennedy. Oh, some wild cards there for you, Jen. So your wild cards in order are the Princess of Wands, the Nine of Cups, and the Lovers, and all three cards are reversed. So basically, first of all, this is encouraging you to take a leap. The Princess of Wands is saying take a leap, let go of fear. It doesn't actually matter if this guy takes responsibility or not. You can focus on your own creative potential. You have desires, you have intentions, you can take action of your own accord. It doesn't matter if he's honest or not. There will be evidence. Nine of Cups, it talks about self-reflection. Notice your emotions, your difficult emotions. Yes, it is triggering when he doesn't take responsibility. It's triggering that he lies. Don't react to it. Reacting to negative emotions is never healthy. So that card is basically saying to you, have a look at your past, see where you've been triggered and you've had difficult emotions. Have a look at how reactions have affected you and your reality. Take notice of where you were successfully transmuted negative energy, negative emotions into positive, constructive action, and learn from that. Learn from the mistakes, learn from the successes, and apply that now in your present. And then that Lover's card, that future interval card, is saying that there is someone who you will interact with, a relationship that's about to make itself present in your reality, make itself obvious and apparent. That relationship doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be romantic. It just talks about a deep connection, and that connection is going to help you evolve. You are limited in your resources and your knowledge, but this relationship, it's going to help you get past those limitations. It's going to bring you into a new phase of understanding and access to new resources, so that you can take action against this lying driver with more weapons in your arsenal, basically. It's a pretty interesting read. And as I shuffle it and draw another card for you, it is once again the Nine of Cups. So it's just bringing you back to that, saying reflect. Reflect on your emotional experiences in the past, how you reacted to them, and where you were successful in transmuting them. The other piece of advice it has is that those feelings, those negative feelings, have not reached their maximum yet. They're still going to well up even more so than they have. Certain things are going to happen when it comes to this court case, because there's always a court case with something like this, that are going to bring those emotions into their full evolution. So 9 is right before they reach fullness. So you're still going to feel them reach their fullness. What you're feeling now is not the worst. And yeah, so this card is encouraging you to look at how you've reacted to difficult emotions in the past, so that you don't react during the court case, because that'll be damaging to your image, that'll be damaging to your perspective in the eyes of the court. Have a look at where you've been able to successfully take a constructive action, a positive and creative action, even despite difficult emotions, so that you can apply that when you are feeling those emotions in their fullness during the court hearing. I hope that that is a helpful reading for you. And then, Jennifer, I'd also like to just mention that I do manifestation spells. I give them away for free on a Monday, but I also offer them as private services, so please feel free to reach out if you'd like to schedule a spell that will ensure the truth comes out and ensure success in your court case. I'd be more than happy to help you with that. And then I'm going to say welcome to Lex Renee. Will me and Jordan be together? Does he really love me? Thank you for your question, Lexi. It adds you to the queue automatically. You will get your reading. Jibin Kadri, welcome. It's so nice to have you in the chat. I'm not sure I've seen you in the chat before. Love the voice quality. do share your mic and equipment details. So this is an A1, Rode A1. Yeah, it's the Rode A1 with stand, with the soundboard. Quite an expensive piece of hardware, to be honest, but hey, I am blessed to have received this manifested into my life. Just like that, when I needed it, there it was. So there are two models of the Rode A1, and this is the later model. I can't remember right now what the difference is in the numbers. There's the A1, which is the cheaper version of the two. This is the higher, the newer one. The A1 is the older one. Wanderer Art Studio says, a great mic setup. Thank you so much for that recognition. It is kind of, it's Rode, R-O-D-E, A1, no dash. So next to my queue is Sindel Mais. Jennifer says, thank you. You're welcome, Jennifer. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope I'll be hearing from you. So Sindel, please let me know if you're still here, because you're up next for a reading. Sindel says, I want to know what now in life. I feel stuck. Jabin says, thank you, most welcome. Waiting for confirmation from Sindel. While we wait, I just want to let you guys know that I do these free readings on Fridays and Sundays. Typically from 3 to 5. I do the free readings for 2 hours. I'm happy to stick around as long as people are prepared to tip once the free readings queue ends. But yeah, typically the free readings only last 2 hours. And then I do spell casting on Monday, and I do healing ceremonies on Wednesday. At some point I want to replace the tarot on a Sunday with scrying, because yeah, I feel like the scrying is a lot deeper. Scrying will produce much deeper, much more profound answers to your questions. And just to let you guys know what scrying is, it's kind of like dream interpretation, but it's with waking visions. So when you dream, you see your symbols in an unconscious state. With scrying, you're looking into a crystal ball or a black mirror or something of that nature, and in that reflection, as your consciousness shifts, like when you get into a meditative trance, then visions start to appear in the surface, in the reflective surface, and then you interpret those visions the same way you'd interpret dreams. And then Diana of Anira says, do you do readings on your own life? Yes. If I feel stuck or I feel like I need an answer to a question, yes, I do readings on my own life. I usually use the tarot as a decryption tool when it comes to my own life. I don't really do tarot readings for myself. I use them to use the cards to create executable spells. And then I use the scrying ball for my own readings. Peggy says, do I teach Reiki? No, I'm afraid I don't teach Reiki. Peggy also says, what kind of readings do you do in private? So I offer all of my services privately. That is 3 to 10 card spreads that I offer. When it comes to tarot, I do the Blackwater scrying, remote viewings or answering questions. I do the pendulum dowsing. I do various types of spellcraft, but mainly the executable servitors. And then I also do fetish creation, which is kind of like hoodoo. And what else do I offer? The healing ceremony in the 3 different parts. There's the guided meditation, trauma release meditation, then there's the actual Reiki style healing current application, and then there's also what I can only refer to as like a spiritual operation, a spiritual surgery, where I search for infections in your energy body and extract them. Jabin says, water scrying sounds so cool. Yeah, it is pretty cool. And Jabin also says, I'd love a card pull if I'm getting the scholarship or not for my master's, and what do I do while I wait because I'm going nuts. Awesome. So your question adds you to the queue automatically, and it looks like Sindel is gone, so I'm going to go ahead and move on. God's abundant blessings, are you here in the chat? Because you'll be next. Peggy Uri says, what are the prices? So you can send me a DM, a direct message, and I will send you my price list and you can see it for yourself. Off the top of my head, I charge... Yeah, it's not, I don't have it off the top of my head. Spells, executable servitors, $16. Hoodoo fetish crafts, $30. Healing ceremonies, can't recall. Off the top of my head, I can't recall. But yeah, send me a DM and I'll send you that price list. And then, yeah, God's abundant blessings, waiting for confirmation before I move on. Tasha says, I'm here. Amazing. Thank you for confirming, Tasha. Peggy would be next. If God's abundant blessings isn't here, then Peggy is next, and you're after Peggy. One last call for God's abundant blessings on YouTube. Nothing. Okay, Peggy, relationship reading for you. What can Peggy expect regarding present relationship status? And what's about to open up for her in her love life? Oh, God's abundant blessings is back. We're doing a reading for Peggy, but I'll put you back in the queue. You can have your reading after Peggy's reading. Anyway, Peggy, your first card here is the Princess of Discs reversed. So this talks about creation and co-creating with others regarding your finances and your health, like setting up structure, applying your creative potential and your ingenuity to make solutions to financial issues, health issues, and that sort of thing. Discs is all about the physical world, and the Princess is all about creativity. It's about coming up with creative solutions and applying your ingenuity. That's particularly when working with other people, not just alone. So the card reversed is saying that you had difficulty doing that with other people. You had difficulty allowing your creative process to support theirs, and vice versa. Difficulty setting some kind of system in place where everybody's creativity could contribute to the financial and physical security you guys were looking for. This is talking about your previous relationship or your present relationship. You weren't specific about whether you were in a relationship or not, but basically this card is saying that where you've come from is having difficulty working with your partner or partners in regards to finances and your physical environment. So it's easy to just mind your own business and set your own budgeting system and know how much you're earning versus how much you're going to spend, and knowing how to balance that. And whenever you're faced with some kind of difficulty, being able to come up with a creative solution, that's pretty easy when you're doing it alone. You don't have to communicate with anybody. You don't have to make compromises for anybody. You know what you can survive on. You know what you're prepared to sacrifice. You don't have to take anyone else's opinion into consideration. And then when there is someone else in the space, when you are in a relationship, then suddenly you've got to communicate, you've got to co-budget, you've got to compromise on behalf of the things that they consider to be luxuries and the things that they consider to be essentials, and you have to balance that with your own. So this card is talking about how you had difficulty with that in relationships or in your present relationship. And it's coming up to say that's something that needs work. You need to work on that. First of all, communicating, saying how much you are prepared to spend, setting boundaries regarding luxuries, making a list of essentials, of what is essential to you and what you're prepared to budget for and what you're not prepared to budget for, etc. Yeah. Present interval, 7 of Swords reversed. So this card is talking about overwhelm regarding your goals. Seems like there are too many outcomes. Like there are so many possibilities that it's daunting to make a decision on any of them. So that card first of all wants to say to you, identify your outcome. It doesn't matter if you've got all of these possibilities. Choose the one that you want most. Choose the one that's most important to you. And then you can help deal with the overwhelm by making a list of priorities of what's most important towards that outcome, what kind of actions you can take. So you identify your destination and then you choose a road to get there, and you set your list of priorities, your tasks that need to get done, because that's a part of the overwhelm. You've got all these responsibilities, so set them in an order of priority. What's most important to you specifically and your life, and then secondly, what's most important to your outcome. Like a certain action might bring you an immediate result, and another action might bring you closer to your outcome or might get you onto the next level. Like it'll be difficult to jump from here to there. You might need to jump to a middle point before you can jump up there, if you get what I'm saying. So yeah, that jumping to the middle point would be part of the priority. It would say, okay, what can I do to get myself closer to the end goal and the main outcome, the desired outcome? Which of my tasks, which of the things that I can do right now in my present is most likely to bring that closer? And then make your decisions and choose your course of action according to that list of priorities. Future interval. 4 of Swords. So this card is saying that in order to manifest a relationship, you can't be looking for a relationship. Yeah, you can, and you probably will find that relationship, but it will not be... I'll have to use an example from my own life. If I'm deliberately going out of my way looking for a relationship, the relationship that I find is never healthy. If I'm working and focusing on my own purpose and disciplining myself within my own routine, suddenly I find other people who are doing the same, and they get closer naturally, and one of them stands out, and I end up in a seriously deep, intimate connection with them, and that evolves into romance naturally, and I don't have to even try. So what that card is saying to you is, as you go forward, and what's about to open up for you is discipline. Discipline regarding your goals. So over here we saw overwhelm and how to deal with it. Now what's going forward is you disciplining yourself within that routine of priority and that order of priority that you're going to set for yourself. And then as you're working on that, and as you're focusing on self-discipline and manifesting your own goals, you're going to find people who are doing the same, and you're going to interact with them, and out of those people will come the relationship that you're hoping for. And that concludes your reading. Once again, I'd like God's abundant blessing to confirm that He's here, because I'm going to throw you back in the queue. Otherwise, I'm going to move on to Tasha. So God's abundant blessing, please let me know. Peggy says thanks, and you're most welcome, Peggy. Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to send me that direct message so that I can send you my price list on private offerings. Welcome, Om Namah. It's good to have you back. As you know, you ask a question to join the queue. I think I'm going to switch that up for Sunday, and then you guys can type something like #tarot to join the queue. It will be a little more fun. I love using hashtags. Welcome, Erica Victoria. Nice to have you back. Nice to see you in our tarot reading stream. And your question adds you to the queue automatically, so thank you very much for that. Should I marry my actual partner to get where I want to be? I just want to let you know that this This clock over here is how much time we still have to give away free readings. I only do the free readings for 2 hours per stream. Okay, God's abundant blessings is once again not responding. So moving on to Tasha. I know there's like a 10-second delay between when I open my mouth and speak and when you guys hear it, and then vice versa. There's like, oh, there we go. God's abundant blessings. Amazing. Thank you. Confirming the details of your question. Future reading. What is stopping me from stepping ahead, and why am I so stagnant? Cool. Welcome, Daniela Stonders. To join the queue for a reading, please ask your question. If you'd like a general reading, just say general. That'll add you to the queue. What is stopping Gopika from stepping ahead? Why is he stuck in the state of stagnation? I didn't bring my water jar today, and I'm starting to get thirsty and parched. Okay, so God's abundant blessing. Your first card is the Magus reversed. It's number 1 of the trumps. This card is all about communication, and it's reversed, so that's miscommunication. And it's saying to me that where you've come from, what you've been dealing with or misdealing with, whatever, is lack of communication, miscommunicating, hiding certain things, hiding true intentions, just not being entirely honest with your words when confronted, or what's the word I'm looking for, or consulted. That's the word I'm looking for. You want to know why you've been stagnant in this last couple months? It's due to miscommunication, not being honest about what your purpose is or what you believe your purpose is. So purpose isn't something that's given to you by the divine. You have a desire in your heart that you're born with, and you get to choose how you accomplish that desire, and that means through which you accomplish your desire is your purpose, and you get to choose that for yourself. You get to set purpose for yourself. And so yeah, this card is saying that you have been miscommunicating that. When consulted, when people ask you, what are you doing with your life? What are you up to? You are not sharing honestly what's going on. So sometimes that's necessary. If you know that you cannot trust somebody, it's a good idea to withhold information. But if you know that you can trust someone, it's a good idea to speak freely. If you don't know someone, then it is wise to keep information to yourself. But this card is showing up because it wants to say to you that if you are communicating clearly with the right people, you will find there are people who want to support you in the purpose you've set and the desire you have in your heart. There are people who want to support you and help you accomplish it, and who want to work together with you towards that end. So yeah, you want to step out. You start by communicating. That is the first form that you give physical. That's the first physical form that you give to a thought. You have a thought in your mind. This is a plan. This is what I want to do. The first physical form that thought gets is words, written down or spoken out loud. And that provides the potential for it to manifest. You have to then commit to that potential. You have to seize it. And then you have to become aware of what's actually going to be required of you in order to see it manifest. But once you reach that point of understanding what's required and making a decision to set routine according to what's required, then those thoughts, the process has been set in motion, and at that point it cannot be undone. Once you reach 3, so 1, communication, 2, potential, 3, self-awareness. Once you reach 3, what you've set in motion cannot be undone. And so this miscommunication keeps preventing that ball from getting rolling. It prevents the whole process from getting in motion. Stuck since the last 3 years after spine surgery. So in the present here we have a number 10 of the trumps for you, Gopika. It's called Fortune. This card is about reaping rewards and seeing returns on investments that you've made. So what this card is saying to me, not that you you are feeling like you're not seeing rewards, that you're not seeing returns, that you're stagnant. And this card is saying to you that actually that's not the case. Have a look around you and see how much you have manifested. See how much your efforts have actually been paying off, and be grateful for the things that you have in the present moment. Remember also to sow new seeds. As you're reaping your harvest, you need to also remember to sow again. If you neglect to sow, think, oh, my harvest is so great, I don't need to sow, then next season you're not going to have a harvest at all. More than that, this card is also saying that there are distracting variables. There are promises, what looks like promises, what looks like opportunities that are coming up right now that are distracting you from reaping your harvest, distracting you from acknowledging and realizing how much has actually been coming into your sphere and how much blessing you're actually receiving. So the universe has a tendency to do that. Whenever we reach completion, then suddenly all of these false promises and distracting variables come in that take our attention away from the harvest. This card just wants you to bring your focus back to how much you have been blessed, and not focus on how much you can still get. Focus on what you have been receiving. And then sow seeds and make investments for the future as well. And you know, investments don't have to be financial. This card is from the trumps, so it's not to do with any specific element, it's to do with all the elements. So that means making investments of time into your purpose, into your goals, making investments of money and resources into businesses, into people, into your own efforts, making investments by communicating. Every form of investing your time and your energy is what it wants you to do. Focus on how much you've received in returns for those investments of time and energy and resource, and then focus on what you can invest when it comes to your time, energy, and resource. Your future interval is number 5 of the trumps, and this is what's about to open up for you. And this card is basically giving you a warning. It's saying that what's about to open up, you're about to meet a teacher archetype. You're about to meet an example, someone who sets an example, but that example is not going to be beneficial to your life. So the card wants to just say to you, be mindful of that. Apply your discernment. When you see this person, when you see this teacher archetype manifest into your space, have discernment. Listen to what they have to say, but then have a look. Just imagine a reality where you took their advice, right? And see, does it result in prosperity? Does it result in ruin? You have the discernment. You know, based on your past experiences and your current physical condition, whether or not you can take the advice of this teacher archetype that's about to come into your life. More than that, this card also wants to suggest that you become the example you don't have. So you're waiting for a teacher? Become the teacher. Apply yourself to the maximum potential. Apply your physical potential, apply your financial potential, apply your knowledge, your intellectual potential. Apply it all to its maximum potential regarding your outcomes and your desires and your purpose and everything. Apply it towards your outcomes in all their senses. And yeah, just be the example that you're lacking. Have discernment and have discernment so that you know whether a teacher archetype is going to be helpful to take their example or detrimental to take their example. Don't follow the false prophets, in other words. When you see them, don't follow them. Become your own example. And that concludes your reading. Then I see that Om Namah asked a question, so well done. Thank you for asking a question. It adds you to the queue. And then Daniela says, general please, but then change that to, are you able to do a pregnancy reading? So what does that imply, Daniela? Do you want to know if you are pregnant? Because the pendulum dowsing can work for that. Yes, I can give you a yes or no answer to that question. And then welcome Elisa Manzani. God's abundant blessing says thank you, God bless you, and you too. Wealth and prosperity to you, wishing you immense wealth and immense prosperity beyond measure. Amen. Elise says, could I please ask about how to get back onto my own path? I've been feeling off and taken by negativity lately while healing myself. Thank you. Amazing. That adds to the queue. Be mindful of the timer. When that reaches 0, our free readings are finished for the day, and all of our readings become gratuity based, or in other words, donation based. JM Funk says, hey Kerr, welcome JM Funk. Haven't seen your name before. Much appreciation and thanks for your support in your view. I'd encourage you to give me a follow, but maybe you would like a reading before you hit that follow button. It's up to you. To join the queue for a reading, just ask a question. If you prefer a general reading, that's just general. Just type general. Next in the queue is Tasha Nolson. Tasha Nolson says, my real name is Natasha McDonald's. So Tasha Nolson, if you're still here, oh, there we go. Amazing. We've still got about 59 minutes on the clock. That's plenty of time. JM Funk says, I would like a reading, but it's complicated. Not sure if I should spell out the details or make it vague. Just give me the basics, bro. Give me the basics. I don't really need to know what's going on in order to consult the spirits and the tarot. The tarot will answer you even if I don't know what the fuck the tarot is saying. It'll be speaking to you. It's just through me. If you get it. If you get what I'm saying. That doesn't sound all too good. Sound of the charger disconnecting. Okay, general reading for Tasha Nolson. Diana of Avanera says, how do I accept payment for readings? Through PayPal. Yes. You know, you're welcome. People are welcome to send deposits directly into my bank account. But you know, when it comes to international service fees, that usually is like a $20 service fee just off the bat, and that's fucking insane. So PayPal is the only reasonable workaround from that. What general guidance does the universe have for Tasha Nolson? A lot of tarot readers require people's names, require their birth dates, and all kinds of nonsense. I don't need any of that shit. It's highly irrelevant. Your presence in the stream, the words you type, your profile picture, and the very reason why you chose your pseudonym is enough for me to form a link. Past interval is the Knight of Discs, Tasha, and is reversed. So this is talking about a rebirth in your physical environment. That is a rebirth that's forced. It's not something that you choose of your own accord, and that looks like either eviction from your home, so having to move from one place to another, or getting fired. That's what that looks like. Knight of Discs reversed, and this is something that's already happened for you. Now it could even be both. You know, getting fired can lead to eviction if you don't have money to pay rent. But yeah, it's either about being forced to move from one place to another, or it's about being forced out of work. And the kind of rebirth that happens with this, it's a death of the old way of physical space, death of your old physical environment, physical security, and the birth of new. And that new rebirth is always to bring you further into alignment with who you truly are. So the card just wants to say to you, don't be discouraged by the difficulties that you're going through in your finances and your physical reality. It might have been forced, it might have been unforeseen, but the rebirth, the growth that happens as a result of it, that you are experiencing, it will bring you closer into alignment with who you truly are and what you truly want to be doing with your life. Present interval is the 10 of Swords. It's also reversed. So this card, it talks about completion, receiving returns on investments, and that's specifically to do with your purpose. And a little note on purpose. Purpose is not something that's given from the divine or whatever. Purpose is something you set for yourself. So all of us are born with a desire in our hearts, and when we step out to accomplish that desire, we are existing within purpose. That is, we get to choose the means that we accomplish our goals, and that means is us choosing our purpose. So basically what this card is saying here is that the old purpose, what you understood your purpose to be, has come to a close. More than that, you are receiving returns on energy that was put out. That energy could look like anything. It could even look like finances. Money is a symbol of energy after all. So the card being reversed is saying that there might be some losses there. There have been some losses there. Also, whenever you've put out negative intentions or negative energy, that's all coming back to you now in the present. We always do this. We all make mistakes, so don't beat yourself up about it. The card is only showing itself here so that you can learn from it, so you can acknowledge, you can look back and say, okay, I acknowledge over there I invested in someone that I shouldn't have invested in, with my time, with my energy, with my money, whatever it might have been that you invested into that person. It was the wrong kind of person to invest in. Or if it comes to a business adventure, if your purpose looked like starting a business, again, there were some of the methods or some of the intentions behind those investments were not exactly healthy, so you receive losses and ill returns as a result. Now, not all of those returns are unhealthy. If you have a look in your present moment, you will see blessings as well that are a result of the positive intentions you sowed and the positive energy that you put out and the healthy investments that you've made. So the key here is really gratitude. The old purpose is coming to a close. That allows you to choose new purpose, identifying new desires and stepping out towards those new, finding a new means to accomplish that desire. And then there's one other thing that this card is saying, intuition. This process that you've been through of your old purpose coming to a close and physical rebirth in your physical environment, this has taught you something about intuition. It has taught you that the old way you understood your intuition to work wasn't necessarily accurate. If you have a look at it, you might find that you were responding to something like fear or shame and calling that intuition. So this is again an opportunity for rebirth into a truer understanding of what intuition is. So intuition is kind of like discernment. It's a knowing in your heart on what is true and what is not true. So when somebody gives you a piece of advice and you look at your life and you imagine applying that advice, you can see how that's going to play out. You just have a knowing of whether that's going to bring you abundance or if that's going to bring you ruin. And so that is intuition, that knowing on the inside, of knowing whether someone's advice or a course of action, how it's going to result, that is intuition. There is emotional impulse that's something that your emotions tell you to do, and there's logic, which is what your logical brain tells you to do based on analyzing the environment, and then there's just this intuitive discernment, this intuitive knowing of what's healthy and what's not healthy. So there's emotions on one hand, there's logic on the other hand, and then there's just this inner knowing, which is actually what intuition is. Future interval is number 7 of the trumps. It is called the Chariot. So this card, it talks about having to make decisions. What's about to open up for you is a decision. You're going to have to make a decision. You can see all of the various outcomes, all of the possibilities for the future, and you're going to have to choose one of those outcomes. You're going to have to choose what it is that you want and how you're going to get there. You're going to have to choose that outcome, visualizing it clearly. As long as there are all of these endless possibilities in front of you, none of them are manifesting. You can only start moving towards an outcome once you choose an outcome. Until then, you're actually stagnating. You're not going anywhere. So that card is saying that to move forward, make a decision regarding your outcome. Visualize it clearly. How much am I earning? What kind of neighborhood am I living in? Am I in a relationship? How many children do I have? Just visualize your outcome in as much detail as you can, and then choose your course of action, your road to get to that destination based on that outcome. You can also set a list of priorities on what's most important towards that outcome. You're going to need things like finances to secure that outcome, so that'll be high on your list of priorities, especially considering this death of your old way, your old financial security, where you've come from. So yeah, act according to that list of priorities first and foremost, but also make sure that you've chosen your destination, your outcome, because that's the first step. If you haven't chosen your outcome, you're stagnating. And then another tip that card has is to observe your evolution. Where were you 2 months ago? Where were you 3 months ago? Where were you this time last year? Observing yourself and the process that you've been through to get where you are today will teach you a lot about how you can move forward. So first of all, you're stagnating if you don't have a clear vision of where you're going. Second of all, you're stagnating if you're not observing your evolution and where you've come from and how you've gotten to where you are now. Selah, that concludes your reading. Welcome to the chat, Shauna, and welcome Asia Bryant. Asking, is there a list for readings? So Shauna, to join the queue, you ask a question that adds you to the queue. And then Asia, there is very much a list for readings. So to join that list, you ask a question. This timer here is a countdown clock. It tells you how much time we have left for free readings. When it reaches 0, we are done with free readings. And all of my readings from there on out are gratuity based, aka donation based. Until then, readings are free. You can also skip the queue with a $5 tip. Tasha, you are welcome. I hope that I'll be seeing you again soon. Please like, please share, please follow. Much appreciated. Next in the queue is Jaya Power. So Jaya, please let me know if you're still here in the chat. I see you asking me the same question you asked me last week Friday, which is, how will my life be with Virat the Capricorn? But if you're here, let me know and I'll read for you again, and the tarot will probably tell you the same thing. But anyway, let me know. JM Funk says it's not like you can hide shit from tarot or guides and the universe. Damn straight. You're on the money with that. So Jaya on YouTube, let me know if you're still here. Last call for Jaya. Welcome to Exclaim2, who says hello. Welcome. Thank you for joining me today. It's good to have you here. I haven't seen you before. Would encourage you to follow me if you enjoy esoterics. We do spell casting on Monday, we do healing on Wednesday, and we do divination on Fridays and Sundays. Lots of interesting shit going on here. I'm doing pretty well, thank you. I mean, I dealt with some difficult emotions today because, national service providers, national electricity service providers decided to shut off the power right when I would have been going live. So today we're online a bit later than usual, later than scheduled, but hey, flexibility, right? That's what today's numerology is all about, structure and flexibility within that structure. Had to really apply that virtue, flexibility, today. Alright, moving on. Next in the queue is Lexi Renee. Lexi Renee on Facebook. Will me and Jordan be together? Does he really love me? So please let me know if you're here. Lexi Renee. Amazing. I love it. I love your patience. Thank you very much. Exclaim says, yeah, I get what you mean about flexibility. So Exclaim, I don't know if I said it before, but to join the queue, you just go ahead and ask your question. I do general readings, so for that, you just type in general. You can even just type hashtag tarot to join the queue. That'll work too. Whoa. Wild card for you, Lexi. Again, it's the Princess of Wands. The Princess of Wands has been jumping out as a wild card today a lot. So this card, it tells me that you can let go of all of your fears, all of the things that are causing you anxiety. Does he really love me? Will we be together? You can let go of your fears regarding that. Your fear of failure, your fear of not being together, your fear of not being loved. Because within yourself, you have all of the potential that you need in order to secure yourself, in order to succeed. It all exists inside of you. So you can just take a leap of faith regarding your own desires, what you want to accomplish, your own intentions, knowing that you have the creative potential, the ingenuity, the potential and the ingenuity to overcome any obstacle that you're faced with. And even if the worst case scenario does come up, that he doesn't really love you, it has nothing to do with your self-worth. You define your worth. Your worth exists within you, and no one can take it from you, whether they recognize your worth or not. If someone doesn't love you, that's their own problem. It's nothing to do with you. Will Lexi and Jordan be together? Thank you for joining the queue, Exclaim. Just want to let you know this timer over here above my head, when it reaches 0, my free reading offerings are done, and from there on out we become gratuity based. But there's like, what, 39 minutes still on the clock or more? Alright, so Lexi, your past interval here is the Queen of Cups reversed. So this is talking to me about reflections, seeing your own reflection in others. Now, this is something that's coming to a close. It's something that has happened. The tarot is just bringing attention to it. It's saying that in the past, regarding this relationship between you and Jordan, you have seen your own reflection in him. So here I see the Queen is looking out over a pond. Her own reflection is there in the pond, but the water is murky, so the reflection is blurred. Basically, that is saying that the things you like about yourself and the things you dislike about yourself, you're seeing them in Jordan. You're seeing them in him. When he says certain things, when he takes certain actions, you feel triggered or you feel glimmered. So glimmer would be a positive trigger, and a trigger would be a negative trigger, where what he says or does brings about a positive emotion or a negative emotion. So this card wants to say to you that what you're perceiving, it doesn't necessarily come from the same place that it would come from if it was you. If you had to make that kind of action, or if you had to say something like that, whether it brings about a positive or negative trigger for you, if it was you saying it, it would come from a different place. If it's a difficult trigger, if you said it, it might have been spiteful. When he's saying it, it's probably just absent-minded. The card just wants to say that you're seeing your own reflection in him, particularly when it comes to the things about him that make you feel shit. You're seeing yourself. It's not necessarily his true intention. It's not necessarily... You get what I'm saying. You're seeing your own reflection there. Snap. Someone's calling me. And that's an interruption. Excuse me. And just put this on silent. is frozen because that happens when people call me. So Lexi, your present interval here is the Two of Cups reversed. So this card is saying to you that you should be focusing on self-love, should be focusing on loving yourself, that there is potential for emotional abundance, and that requires self-love and self-validation. And you have reached for it. You have said to yourself, yes, I get to validate myself. It's not up to him to validate me. But then you don't commit to it. When he says something that triggers you, then you allow yourself to fall into a hole of self-pity, and you forget all about this self-validation and self-love process. And this card, it wants you to turn it the right way around. This is coming up because the universe wants you to turn it the right way around. Potential for abundance is like a seed. A seed has the potential for abundance. You plant it in the ground, and then you have to water it regularly, and you have to maintain it, and you have to shelter it from weather. Otherwise it withers away and dies. So that potential for emotional abundance is like a seed. You're not going to immediately stop feeling triggered. You're not going to immediately start feeling emotionally secure within your own validation. It's a process that you got to work on and build and allow to grow, and you got to nurture it and protect it. That's present interval. In fact, I'm going to leave it there, turned the right way around. Future interval is the Five of Swords reversed. Okay, so this is a warning and a suggestion on how you can unlock the future of your desire. So you have a desire in your heart about where you want this relationship to go, and you have a desire in your heart on what you want to receive from life, what you hope to accomplish in life. And this card is saying to you, in order to get there, you got to apply all of your knowledge, all of your experiences, and all of your financial and technological resources in order to make it happen. It's up to you. The future doesn't happen to you. The future is something that you visualize and then grab a hold of it little piece by little piece, and you bring it into your present, slowly transforming your present to correspond with your vision of the future. You don't know the future, you don't know the past, you only have the present experience. And then the warning that this card wants to give you is that if you reach further than what your knowledge and experiences and resources can carry you, you will fall and you will end up going further backwards. So you'll take like one step forward and then go 2 steps back. It's important to take a step that is reachable. If you reach too far, you end up going backwards. So baby steps. Any step, no matter how small it is, brings you closer to your outcome. So rather focus on one step at a time rather than trying to leap too quickly into your future. And that concludes your reading. So thank you very much for joining me today. Please like and share this video feed, and also please follow me. Thank you very much. Welcome Rajni, and welcome Christina Porter. So Rajni, thank you for your question. It adds you to the queue. Lexi, I do 1 reading per person per stream. So yeah, go ahead and send a donation of your choosing, and I will swing the pendulum for you. Next in my queue, let's see. And then Christina Porter, in order to join the queue, you ask a question. If you want a general reading, you just type general. Hashtag tarot will also get you into the queue. So Jabin Kadri is next. Jabin, if you're still here, let me know please. It's time for your reading. Jabin Kadri. Thank you for your confirmation, Christina Porter. You are in the queue. I just want to let everyone who is watching, I just want to let you guys know that this timer is a countdown for 2 hours, and yeah, when it reaches 0, my free readings are done, and all readings from there on out become gratuity based, which in other words is donation based. So Jabin Kadri, You'd love a general reading or a card pull if I'm getting the scholarship or not for my master's, and what do I do while I wait because I'm going nuts. Okay, let's see what we can do. Let's see what the universe has to say. What advice does the universe have for Jabin regarding the scholarship she has applied for? JM Funk says, so here is my question. I need to reach out to someone who I had a falling out with. I need to warn them about some sensitive information about them being leaked. I just want to do the right thing and possibly begin the path of forgiving each other. I'm not sure how to go about it. And then Daniela, I have not forgotten about you. Don't stress. I'm not sure where you fall in the queue, but you are in the queue, so don't stress. You can secure yourself with a $3 tip, but you can also wait to find out if you're going to get your free reading or not. Timer is starting to get low. Okay, so Jabin, your past interval card here is the Prince of Discs reversed. So this talks about choosing to face difficulties regarding your finances. This is something that you chose recently and something you've been through. It's coming to a close now. So in 2021, there were certain aspects of your physical reality that you wanted to change, that you were not ready to face. So you pushed those challenges out. You push them, put them on the back burner, on the shelf. You're like, I'll deal with that when I get there. I'll cross that bridge when I get there. And 2022 looked like you getting to that bridge. So you started taking those challenges off the shelf and choosing to face them. And this was to do with the work you were offering, realizing that the changes you wanted to make to your environment required more. It required more resource, more knowledge. So therefore, having to endure financial difficulty, letting go of the way you were doing things and push towards this re-education of yourself, pushing towards this quantum leap. So in order to find some kind of breakthrough regarding that, so that you could go back to work at a later point and have a bigger system, have more opportunity for change towards what you want to see in your physical environment. The level of physical security and financial security you were hoping for required some kind of breakthrough, and the beginning of this year has looked like you choosing that for yourself. Choosing to face those challenges and find a way to overcome those obstacles and make the breakthrough that you're looking for. Present interval is the Prince of Wands. Lots of you're facing a lot of challenges. You've just come through this choosing to face financial and physical challenges. Now here we're looking at that again, looking to make breakthroughs regarding your desires and intentions. So this card again, it looks like choosing to face challenges that you'd been neglecting. However, facing these challenges doesn't look so much like difficulty or so much like suffering as the Prince of Discs reversed was. There is a lot of resistance to that one. It requires a lot of endurance. This one, however, is you recognizing that you have learned enough and you have grown enough that you can actually make a breakthrough regarding your desires. So these desires are things that you're passionate about. You're setting intentions towards things that you are passionate about. Letting go of the old in order to allow the things that you really want to do, that are really aligned with who you are authentically, to come into your space. And you are recognizing within yourself that you have the potential to accomplish that. You have the potential to make that shift from what you have been doing up until this point, what you had previously understood your desires to be, and shift into what you are truly passionate about. So, yeah, this card wants you to have a look at what you've learned throughout the last process, the previous process, or what you did throughout 2021 in order to secure yourself. Have a look through that process and see what you've learned from it, how much you've learned from it, how much you've grown through it, and what kind of tools that gives you in the present towards what you're passionate about. So you don't have to sit around and wait for this application for your master's degree to come through. There are things that you can be doing based on what you've learned from your previous cycle. There are things you can set in motion so long that are aligned with what you truly want from life. You can find creative ways to start applying that passion or working towards that passion even now. Even let's say that you don't get accepted for your scholarship, there are still things you can be doing, still ways that you could be educating yourself in alignment with this authenticity, with this authentic passion that you're working towards. Future interval is number 6 of the trumps. It is reversed. So this is what's opening up for you, and it looks like relationship. So that doesn't necessarily imply romance. It's talking about a deep connection. So as soon as you begin applying yourself to your maximum potential, based on what you know, based on what you've learned, based on your experiences and the resources you have at your disposal, as soon as you start applying that, you're going to meet someone else who's doing the exact same thing. And by meeting them, it's initially going to be intimidating. It's initially going to be it's going to come with a feeling of hopelessness, because you're going to look at them and think they're doing so much better than you with what they have and with what they know. But that is only happening to make you aware of your limitations. So even when you're applying yourself to your maximum potential, there will still be limits on how much you know and how much resource you have access to. Now, becoming aware of your limits is not necessarily a bad thing, because as you interact with this person, you are going to give them access to new resources so that they can do even better than what they've been currently doing, and vice versa. They're going to give you access to new resources that will help you be even better than what you've been doing until that point. Basically, this relationship is going to create an evolution for both of you as you share knowledge, share experiences, and give one another access to new resources. And that concludes your reading. So thank you very much for joining me. Please like and share, and if you're by the means, I would encourage you to donate, but that is entirely optional, entirely optional. Alright, so who is up next? Before I move on, let me see who has joined us. We've got an Alpha on YouTube, welcome. And we have a Shivansh. So Alpha, I haven't seen you here before. Thank you for joining our stream today, and your question added to the queue. Just be mindful that the countdown clock for free readings is getting low. Yeah, your question added to the queue automatically. And then Shivansh, I want to let you know that you have to ask your question to get into the queue. And then Jabin Kadri says, oh my god, that was so good, thank you. You are welcome. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share the value that I have to share. It's useless for me to sit on this gift. It's useless for me to sit on my intuitive gifts and magical gifts. It's like, what am I doing sitting here hoarding it for myself? That's why I've started doing this. So I started doing all these streams. Yeah, I had a bit of resistance towards doing the spellcasting streams and the healing streams. I felt a lot of nervousness about that, but I was like, hey, I need to step out on a whim and do this, because I can't keep sitting on these gifts. I have seen so much success in my spellcasting. I've seen so much success in my healing. I cannot keep sitting on it. I got to start sharing it. I wasn't given it in order to hoard it. If I hoard it, it's going to be taken away. That's how money works too. If you hoard money, you lose money. You got to be spending it and investing it. Otherwise, it runs away from you. Who is next in the queue? Next in the queue is Erica Victoria. So Erica, if you're still here, please let me know. Jabin says your video is really inspiring me to do it too. That's what I've been thinking the whole time, and you literally said the same thing. That's crazy. So glad to hear of the resonance. I love to hear feedback like that. Glad you've been inspired. So Erica Victoria, you're up next for a reading. Please let me know if you're still here. Erica Victoria on Facebook said, should I marry my actual partner to get where I want to? Most welcome, Jabin, most welcome. And thank you for joining me. I really appreciate your support and your view. And yeah, I hope that I'll be seeing you again soon. So I do the tarot reading and divination on Friday and Sunday. Every Friday and Sunday, and then I do the spell casting on Monday, and I do the healing on Wednesday. Last call for Erica Victoria. Alright, moving on. Om Namah. Current feelings of Narendra for me. What does he expect? Om Namah, please confirm that you're still here. You're up next for a reading. Om Namah Jyoti. Jyoti, you're up next. If you're still here, please confirm. Last call for Jyoti. Om Namah. Next in the queue is Daniela Saunders. Daniela, please let me know if you are still here. Oh, and look, a warm welcome to Denise Moss, asking, what do I see with your ex? Thank you for your question. It adds it to the queue. We only have, what's that, 23 minutes? 23 minutes left on the clock. Daniela is here. Okay, so Daniela, I want to confirm with you. You want to know whether or not you're pregnant, okay? On behalf of Daniela Saunders, is she with child? So that side to side swing is an indication no. I often wait a little bit to see if it's going to do anything else, but it's not doing anything else. Just a clear no. Just a clear no. So I'm not sure what has inspired you to ask this question. Perhaps you've been late on your period, but the pendulum would have indicated that. It is saying no, you are not with child. Next in the queue is Elisa Manzini. Elisa Manzini. Daniela Saunders says it's a bit too soon to test. Well, the pendulum has just said to you that you're not pregnant. Elisa Manzini. Okay, cool. Elisa wants to know how to get back onto her own path, saying, I've been falling off and taken by negativity lately while trying to heal myself. Thank you. Okay. Oh. Wild card for you. Number 19 of the trumps. Awesome. That's a fucking awesome wild card. This is saying to you that you are the source of energy in your life. Like the sun is the source of energy in our solar system and it gives our planet its potential to bring forth life and abundance, you are the sun in your life. You are that source of energy that gives your environment and the people in it their potential to bring forth abundance. You inspire. You give your projects their potential to bring forth security. Anything that you set out to do, as long as you do it with authenticity, it will bring about abundance and prosperity. And you'll be nothing but an inspiration. The card is also warning that you don't try and deliberately give of your energy. Don't try and people please, because that'll drain your cup. And then you won't be able to emit that energy that gives your environment its potential. If you exist authentically, it'll happen naturally. The card actually, it's saying basically, if you hate doing something, don't do it. It's as simple as that. People might tell you need to do shit that you don't like in order to get somewhere with life. That is so counterintuitive. You gotta be doing what's authentic to you and what you enjoy doing. Otherwise you drain your cup and you exhaust yourself. And you exhaust your energy source. How can Elise get back on the horse? Overcoming the negative thought trains that sabotage her process. Queen of Cups in the position of your past. So this card is saying to me that when you are trying to heal yourself and you have these negative thoughts, the ones that are about other people, when you feel frustrated or resentful towards other people in your life, it has been a self-reflection. The reason you're upset or triggered is because you're seeing parts of yourself in them. Things in yourself that you don't like, that you wish weren't there, that you try and hide. It is very frustrating for you when you see other people not hiding those things and being authentic with them. It is difficult for you to see. It's difficult for you not to be triggered or feel negative when you are seeing people doing things that you're ashamed of in your own being, that you wouldn't want to express openly. This card is also saying that you have desired to be balanced and satiated and content in your emotional self, and because of that desire you have taken action to find that. You have been trying to work on this process of finding emotional security, and that is very, very much something I'd encourage and something I say kudos to. Well done. It's never easy, but well done for making the decision to pursue that desire and for even having that desire in you. A lot of people are very much comfortable in their misery and their suffering, but you desire more than that. You recognize that you're worthy of more than that and that you're responsible for giving yourself more than that. So this is something that's coming to a close, this period of seeing other people, seeing your own reflection in other people. That's something that's coming to a close as you accept yourself and you accept your shadows. In the present, I have the Lover's card for you. Number 6 of the trumps. So this is talking about in the present you have formed a deep and intimate connection with someone. It doesn't necessarily mean that there is romance or sex there yet, but the connection is deep. You can feel it. You have been applying yourself. You have desires that you want to accomplish, and so you've been applying your knowledge and your experiences in order to accomplish those desires. And this person that you've connected with is on that same kind of path, trying to reach for their own goals by applying themselves to their potential, applying their creativity in order to see their desires manifested. So this relationship, this deep connection, is going to allow you to overcome previous limits and push yourself even further than you have been before. All of the limitations you've been reaching, like here you had a desire to see more emotional security and more emotional abundance, but there's still something that limits you from getting there, something that keeps derailing you from the process. So this relationship is going to give you the pieces of the puzzle that allow you to overcome those limitations and push through those blockages. And at the same time, you're going to give pieces of the puzzle to that other person, that person that you're connecting to. You're going to give them information, knowledge, experience, and access to resources that can help them through whatever they're dealing with, as they do the same for you. That's what's going on in the present. So yeah, you can let go of your concerns. You can trust and know that this connection you've made recently, that you're nurturing right now, is what is gonna, just in that relationship, interacting with that person, learning from that person, and that person learning from you, is going to give you all of the tools that you need to make the breakthrough you've been looking for. Future interval is a Two of Cups. So this card, first of all, it's acknowledging that you have been reaching for the potential for self-love and self-fulfillment and self-validation. You have been reaching for that, and you've been working on that and dedicating all of your energy to that. This card wants to warn you, it wants to say to you that in past relationships, you've been working on yourself, and then you get into a relationship, and all that work you've done, you've let it slip away. It wants to warn you that as you go into this relationship here, as it develops and grows, don't allow that old pattern to repeat itself. Stay focused on yourself. Don't suddenly start seeking your validation from your partner. Continue to give it to yourself and work on your own healing process. The potential here that you've been working on is like a seed. You've planted it a while ago already, and you've been nurturing it, and it's a little plant now. And it won't be much longer before you can receive harvest from it and see the rewards on all the effort that you've made. So don't allow old patterns and old cycles to come and get in the way and allow that seedling to die before it reaches its maturity. And that is the conclusion of your reading. So thank you very much for joining me today. And yeah, please like this video. Much appreciation to you. Checking to see who's next in the queue. So the next in the queue would be Exclaim on Twitch. Exclaim on Twitch. Please let me know if you're still here. And then warm welcomes to Trent King on Facebook, asking for a career reading. So Trent King, I have a lot of requests and my free readings queue is about to close. So your question adds you to the queue, but yeah, my free readings are going to come to an end long before I get to you, I'm afraid. Exclaim, you gave me a hashtag tarot in order to join the queue, but I didn't get a question from you. So would you like a general reading, or do you have a question you'd like to ask? And then you're most welcome, Elisa. Thank you for joining me. I'm glad that you got some value and some insight from that reading. Exclaim would like a general reading. What general guidance does the universe and the spirits thereof have for Exclaim? And what opportunities exist in his or her present which can be seized? Past interval is a Knight of Cups. So this is what you have been going through. It's something that's now coming to a close in this present moment. Knight is all about rebirth, and Cups is all about emotions. So the way that you interact with your emotional being, the universe has forced you to go through a rebirth there, where you allow the old way of interacting with your emotions to die, and a new way of interacting with them to be born. The card reverse indicates that you have not been given a choice in this matter, that in order to make breakthroughs, in order to find yourself evolving into your authentic being, this is something that has to happen. It's not something you've been given a choice with. And basically there has been oppression, and it has brought up emotional feelings for you, and the old way of dealing with them is just not working. It just didn't work under that oppression. So the old way had to die. You had to stop reacting to emotions the way you used to. You had to completely revolutionize the way you interact with your emotions in order to get through that oppression. Whether that oppression came from people or government or work or wherever it came from, you had to be reborn in your emotional being. So the old way kind of looked like doing whatever your emotions told you. If that's a positive emotion, doing what it told you. If it's a negative emotion, doing what it told you. And the honest truth is, when you react to a negative emotion and do what it tells you to do, you sabotage your purpose. You bring yourself away from the things that you've been working on. If you feel a negative emotion, it's highly important that you apply yourself to something creative and express that emotion in creative art. Now, it doesn't have to look like your traditional art forms, drawing, painting, music. It can look like any kind of process where you come up with solutions, where you have to apply your ingenuity in order to make progress or overcome an obstacle. That is creativity's essence. So that is the only healthy way to deal with negative emotions. To do something that's creative brings you closer to your outcomes and your goals. To react to negative emotions takes you away from your goals. And that's something that you learned recently as you went through this rebirth. Under oppression, it became very obvious how reacting to emotions was detrimental to your outcome. Your present interval is number 12 of the trumps. It's called the Hangman. So in your life, you've been working on your own path, your own intentions. For a long time, you've been working on it yourself, like whatever it is that you're trying to do in your life, whatever you want to accomplish, you've set systems in motion, you've made attempts to accomplish it. And while you're working on this purpose that you've set for yourself, certain challenges arise, and you prioritize what you were currently doing. You are prioritizing what you're currently doing. No, you were prioritizing what you were currently doing at that time. So you pushed those challenges to a side, saying, hey, when I have time to face that, when I have time to deal with that emotion, when I have time to deal with that problem, that financial problem that is looming on the horizon, I'll do it when I get to that bridge. And in the present, you are at that bridge now. So you are taking those challenges down off the shelf and facing them. You are applying your ingenuity, regardless of difficult emotions, regardless of the environment. You're choosing to channel that into creative inspiration in order to overcome challenges that you have been faced with, challenges that you've been neglecting to face. You are recognizing that you've learned enough and you've grown enough. It's time now that these things get addressed. And yeah, that's what you're doing in the present. You're finding ways to apply your potential based on the things you've learned, applying yourself in order to overcome the obstacles that are in front of you. Obstacles that you saw looming on the horizon, but now are in your present. You're overcoming them. Future interval, number 21 of the trumps. This is a great card. I love to see this card, especially when it's the right way around. This card is saying that whatever you've been visualizing in your mind, whatever your plans have been, everything that you have set in motion, it's going to transform your reality so that it looks the same way you've been visualizing. That's what the universe card is all about. As above, so below, as within, so without. Anything that you've been visualizing, anything that you are visualizing, or what you plan to create, is reflecting in your environment. You are causing it to reflect in your environment, and you are finding ways to overcome your shadow. So there are certain aspects of your being that come up and try to thwart your efforts, try to self-sabotage, triggers, distractions, things come up that make it seem like it's impossible, make it seem like there's resistance to you causing your environment to reflect according to what's inside. And you are dancing with that serpent, your shadow. You're dancing around it. You're not allowing it to restrict you. You're finding ways to minimalize distracting variables. You're finding ways to avoid and work around your triggers so that they don't interfere with your process. And that process is you bringing potential into your environment, taking the vision that you have in your mind of what you want your life to look like and causing your physical reality to correspond with that. And that's what's opening up for you, that process of finding ways around your shadow, minimalizing, distracting and triggering variables so that they don't interfere with your process. That's what's opening up for you. Sila, pausing to contemplate the magnitude of what has been revealed. Thank you for joining me, Exclaim, and I would encourage you please to subscribe. Follow. It's so confusing, you know. YouTube following is a subscription. On Twitch, following is following. Please follow me, Exclaim. Much appreciation. You're most welcome. We've got 4 minutes on the clock. Christina Porter, Rajni Yadav, JM Funk. The first one of you to respond gets the last reading of the day, last free reading. Rajni Yadav, Christina Porter, JM Funk. JM Funk was the first one to reply. JM Funk is getting the last free reading of the day. Sorry, Christina. You can still secure yourself a spot and I will give you a reading, but that will be a $3 tip. So JM Funk says, so here is my question. I need to reach out. Give it to Christina. JM says, I'll pay. Okay, cool. So Christina, you're getting the last free reading. General reading for Christina Porter. What guidance, general advice and guidance do the spirits of the universe and the zodiac have for Christina Porter? Okay, so Christina Porter, your past interval here is number 2 of the trumps, and it is called the Priestess. She is reversed. So this card, it talks about where you've come from. It's things that are coming to a close, and basically there was opportunity and potential for much abundance and much growth in every aspect of your life. Physical abundance, that's finances and health. Spiritual abundance, intuitive abundance, emotional abundance. All of that was there. There was opportunity for all of it that you could reach out and claim. but you didn't commit to it. You saw it there, you wanted it, you reached out half-heartedly and didn't commit to that potential and didn't have the endurance that was required in order to see that potential manifest. So it slid by and passed on, and you weren't able to see it realized. Present interval is the Ace of Swords. It is reversed. So this card, it talks about miscommunication regarding your purpose. So you have purpose that you want to see things realized into your life. You have a desire in your heart, and you want to take action to accomplish those desires. And the very first thing you can do towards that end is communicate it and speak it out loud. That's how you give it its first physical form. And once it has physical form, then the potential for its manifestation becomes a reality. However, you've been miscommunicating that purpose. When people consult with you asking, what are you doing? What are you creating for yourself in life? You've been withholding information and being dishonest regarding your actual goals. Now, if you know someone is untrustworthy, then yeah, it's wise not to be honest with them. If you know someone is trustworthy, it is wise to speak freely, because if you're speaking about what your purpose is and what you want to see realized, you will encounter people who are willing to support you in that process, who want to help you accomplish that purpose and work with you to accomplish that purpose. But if you're not speaking about it, you're not giving your purpose its potential to become a reality. Your future interval is the Seven of Cups reversed. And this is what's about to open up for you. So this card is a warning and a key in order to unlock the future that you desire to see realized, that you want to manifest. Seven is about contemplation and decision making. Cups is about water and emotions, water being a symbol for emotions. So the card being reversed is saying that you are going to experience some emotional difficulty, some anxiety, some shame, some uncertainty. There's just going to be some difficult emotions that you don't want to face. Overwhelm, feeling like there's too many priorities, and that's where the anxiety is going to come from, feeling like there's too much to accomplish, too much to do. And it's going to inspire you to distract yourself with addiction, television, compulsive eating, smoking, drinking, binge watching series. Basically, that's the warning. It's saying don't fall into that trap, don't fall into that pitfall. And the advice that it has, the key, is prioritize. You don't have to figure out everything at once. Focus on what's most important towards your outcome. Remember to face your emotions. All of those feelings that you feel, face them. Allow them to be felt and expressed. Don't try and suppress them or try and distract yourself from them. Just express them. Feel them. Acknowledge them, saying, yes, I'm feeling this fear. Yes, I'm feeling whatever. And so I'm going to do something constructive with that feeling. I'm going to do something healthy with that feeling. I'm not going to react to it and sit in a hole and do nothing. I'm going to apply my creativity towards the outcome that I'm manifesting for myself. That's the key. The key is to prioritize. What's most important to you, do it regardless of what you're feeling. Feel it, acknowledge what you're feeling, and then stay consistent with your priorities. You don't have to figure out everything at once. Just work on what's most important to your outcome. Don't fall into the pitfall of distracting yourself from your emotions, because that'll leave you stagnant and you won't actually be accomplishing your goals. You'll just be binge watching series, or eating chocolate, or drinking alcohol, or whatever it is that you do to cope with difficult emotions. For me, it's all of those things. And more. And that concludes your reading, Christina Porter. I have a priority tip from JM Funk. So JM Funk is getting a reading even though my free readings queue is closed. Thank you very much for your support and just the fact that you're prepared to give some value in return for value. It is very encouraging to see and very much appreciated. So JM Funk says, here is my question. I need to reach out to someone who I had a falling out with. I need to warn them about some sensitive information regarding them that was leaked. I just want to do the right thing and possibly begin the path to forgiving one another. Not sure how to go about it. Okay, cool. And then I just want to say welcome to Jayesh Thakur on YouTube, and Shilpa and Sahu. And I just want to let you guys know that my free readings queue is closed. And so all of my readings from here on out are gratuity based. That is also known as donation based. $3 minimum. We're giving a priority reading to JM Funk. So priority tips typically skip the queue, but there isn't any queue at this point. JM is the only one in the queue for a paid reading. How can JM Funk go about doing what he perceives to be the right course of action? Okay, so your past interval card here is the 3 of discs. So the first thing this is talking about is how you used to work together with this individual. Perhaps even the one who is threatening to leak the information. It talks about multiple people who work together in order to secure themselves financially. Prior to falling out, this is past interval, things that have already come to a close. More than that, this card is also talking about self-awareness. It is saying that during this process, you guys individually and collectively became aware of what it is that you actually wanted to be doing with your lives, what you wanted to be doing, like where you actually wanted to be dedicating your efforts regarding work and finances and security, and what was required of you in order to move into that place of authenticity, of working and living authentically. 3 is a number of enlightenment. It's about becoming aware, noticing what is actually going to be required in order to see what you want from life become a reality. Now this becoming aware of what was required for you each individually is kind of what split it up. So what you had been working on before was working, but it wasn't aligned with who you individually were authentically. So you had to move on to something that was more authentic, and they had to move on to something that was more authentic. But that happened quite naturally prior to the falling out. Present interval is the Ace of Wands. So this card is saying to me that you're being a little bit dishonest with yourself about what your intentions are. Ace is all about communication, and Wands is about intentions and desires. So you have a deeper intention and a deeper desire. It is more than just this wanting to do the right thing, wanting to warn them about the information that's being leaked, wanting to forgive. There's more to it than that. and it's something that it's not about being dishonest with me, it's about being dishonest with yourself and with them. If you speak to them if you speak to them with the current intention, you will be dishonest with them as well. You need to identify what it really is that you're trying to accomplish with this selfless act, supposedly selfless act, where you're reaching out to warn them about information being leaked. What is the true intention behind that? And you need to identify this for yourself, for your own sake. If you want to see forgiveness and healthy resolution, then you need to identify the true intentions. Because if you go ahead and communicate based on this current intention that you're using to hide your true intentions, it's not going to result in resolution. It's just going to create disharmony. It's going to instill fear and misunderstanding. You're hoping to get something out of it. You're hoping to get some kind of recompense, some kind of recognition. The falling out has to do with you being misidentified, falsely accused, gaslit perhaps. And so the deeper intention that this card is indicating to me is that you want that aspect, that false recognition, that false identification or false accusation, you want that to be rectified. That's the deeper intention that I'm getting from this card. Two of Swords reversed is your future interval. So 2 is about potential and opportunities, and Swords is about purpose. And a note on purpose, because purpose is something that's very much misunderstood. Purpose is where you identify what your heart desires and then you take action towards accomplishing it. So the desire is there in your heart. It's something that you're born with. Purpose is something you get to choose. It's the means through which you accomplish your desire. It's the means through which you apply your will in order to see your desire realized. That's purpose. So there's potential for the manifestation of purpose. It'll require commitment. It will require endurance. So the card itself is called peace. So the resolution being peace between you and this individual that you want to warn. That's the resolution, that's the outcome of when you move forward and you actually communicate with them. It'll result in a, what do they call it? What do they call it when the piece is a delicate piece? It'll result in a delicate piece. And that there is potential for more. There is potential for the purpose you set. So you had a desire that was for peace. There is potential for that peace to grow. There's potential for that purpose to manifest further into its fullness. But it will require that you have endurance and patience and commitment to that peace. That you don't shut them out just because they're not immediately ready to understand you better. The word, truce, peace, they work together. An uneasy truce, an uneasy peace is the resolution. And in order for that to become, for that trust to build between the two of you, you're going to have patience. You're going to have to continue to demonstrate healthy character even when they're not. Or otherwise you're just going to destroy your image further and make them mistrust you even more. You're going to have to literally be the grown-up, the better person, and continue to remain aligned even when they're not being aligned with who you truly are authentically, and aligned with the purpose that you want to see, this peace, this resolution, this understanding that you want to see. You're going to have to stay aligned with that outcome. Regardless of how they act or how they react or what they go through, There'll be moments where they want to trust you, and there'll be moments where they're accusing you of things that are not true, and you're just going to have to stay committed and stay true to yourself authentically through all of that in order to see the peace that you're looking for and to see the trust that you want to rebuild. So, a little overview, because your question was, the question that I asked on your behalf was, how can you move forward with this? How can you go about reaching out to this individual? And so the answer to that, based on the spread, is to be honest about your true intention. So start that conversation with saying, I think you have misunderstood me. I think what you have accused me of is inaccurate, but nevertheless, I want to just give you this warning. I want to let you know that this is what is happening. If you have a plan on how you can stop that or how you can make a change to that information being leaked, express it as well. Communicate completely and freely regarding what you desire and what you're hoping to accomplish from this relationship and from the interaction, about what your intentions are, and what you are hoping, what you advice you have to offer in their interest, not even in your own, in their interest. And that is the conclusion of your reading. So I hope that it has given you some insight on how you can move forward and how you can go about communicating with them and finding the resolution that you're hoping to find. Sila. Pausing to contemplate the magnitude of what has been revealed. You are most welcome, and I'd encourage you to follow me if you haven't already. I will be live on Sunday again, not the same time. Today I was late, so from 3 till 5 GMT plus 2, so I came alive in the river at like 20 past 5 p.m. GMT plus 2 today, so about 2 hours earlier on Sunday. And then on Mondays I cast spells free. I give away free spell casts, and on Wednesdays I perform free healing ceremonies, and like energy healing, remote energy healing, all around about the same time, unless something happens. Like today there were power cuts, so then it had to be postponed. Welcome Jasmine. I don't think I've seen you before, so thank you for joining me today. I'm about to end the stream because my free readings queue is closed, but I will stick around if you prepare to send a $3 tip minimum. Then I will be more than happy to give you a reading. Alternatively, excuse me, welcome Brian Anthony. So same thing, I've reached the end of my free readings queue. My free readings queue is closed, as you can see here, so I'm happy to stick around and give you guys readings if you're prepared to send a $3 tip minimum. Alternatively, you can reach out to me privately and schedule private readings. And then the other alternative is to wait for Sunday, because I do another 2 hours of free readings on Sunday. Jasmine says, I'm from Tunisia. I don't see how that's relevant, but thank you. I'm from South Africa. Yeah, anyway, I'll catch you guys on Sunday, you can follow me so you don't miss out on Sunday stream, and then please join early in the stream if you want a free reading. The queue fills up pretty quick. So, wishing all of you wealth and prosperity beyond measure. I'll see you on Sunday.